Hey guys, first Regarsion here, so I want to talk about the brand new heroic power axe, the Incarmine Axe. Now, a ton of people have questions about this weapon. Is it better than the current block axe? Is it better than the balance axe? Is the heroic perk effect even good? I'll be going over this weapon today and just explaining to you how I would set it up and where I think this one kind of shines. Now, first things first, does this weapon need a buff? I would say it could use like a little one. This isn't like the most powerful weapon ever, but it is still pretty good, and I would say it is a great side grade to the block axe, which it is supposed to be in the first place. Now, for the heroic perk here, we do have Sanguine Edge. Power backstep can still be performed to the next heavy attack, even if you move out of power stance. Now, basically, all you have to do is just perfect block an enemy, just wait a second, and you just walk around and hold down your button for your heavy attack, and just do this power wave instead. Now, where is that useful? Well, this really comes in handy when you are trying to set up like massive horde clear, because the big thing about this weapon in general is that you have 12 strength, 4 speed, and 17 cleaving potential. Now, cleaving potential, if you're unaware, is the maximum number of enemies you can hit and actually do damage to. So your power wave does more damage to more enemies than any other axe in the entire game, which is including the balance axe, fencing, and block. And you also have double the speed of the standard block variant by giving up that damage. So what you're good for here is horde control, like clearing out minors with whirlwind and stuff like that, and also just doing a ton of damage to a ton of Majoris at the cost of a bit of damage. So honestly, this perk is pretty good, and you also have to keep in mind that the power backstep, that can stagger pretty much any enemy in the game that is able to be staggered, so things like enraged enemies, hell brutes, and that's a pretty good thing to be able to set up. Now, for the perk tree on this weapon, the big thing here is that you can go down a couple paths. I would mostly stay away from the top tree, because things like confident stance, things like perpetual speed, they don't really do anything for you on this build. And also, the top tree does have some good perks like endless slash, but when it comes to things like power strike, gun strike from power stance deals 20% more damage, you're not really getting any major benefit from this at all on any block weapon, so you just skip over this one. So for the best perk setups on this, I would say number one, you take perpetual strength, moving here into the perk coup de grace. The last strike by light combo deals 25% more damage. Then I grab the perk over here, perpetual strength again, and then we skip over this one, because really perpetual strength is not a huge damage increase at all, especially with a 12 strength baseline, so we can just like not take this one on this build, and I move here into the perk counterattack instead. The first light attack within 5 seconds after a perfect parry or perfect block deals 25% more damage. Now, because you are trying to save your power waves on the riposte here, having this perk to like give you more light attacks and just light combos in general are a lot better on this weapon than they are on most other axes in the game, especially the other block axe, because this one you're pretty much just like power waving and overheading all the time, and this one your light attacks are actually pretty good. Next perk here is riposte. Overhead strike damage after performing a power backstep is doubled. Now, sometimes this one's a little awkward to get off, because when you try to use your power backstep by holding it on like the Sanguine Edge effect, you can shoot out your power wave, but you won't be in range of any enemy to actually use the overhead strike from riposte. That sucks sometimes, but that can also happen with like any axe in the game. Next perk here is hard target. While performing a light combo, you'll take 15% less range damage. You pretty much pick this perk up on either block axe, because the bottom row is just where you want to go, but on this one especially, light combos are used more often like I mentioned before, so a 15% range damage reduction here, that is pretty helpful. Now, this is where you can kind of make a decision on this one as opposed to the standard block axe. When it comes to the standard block axe, I would just go straight for cleaver into things like perpetual strength. That is obviously the best choice, because all you want is damage, but on this one, because you have that speed, because you have that cleaving potential, you can actually go up through Power Wave into Minoris Slayer into Restoration. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores 1 armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, they did fix this perk to actually have the proper description. It used to say the cooldown was 20 seconds, and I'm pretty sure they did that because this weapon particularly benefits from the armor restoration here, because a 17 cleaving potential, that is a really powerful option to trigger a rapid succession kill, and because of that, you have a free armor restoration built into your weapon that's really probably better than like any other variant in my opinion, besides like maybe the balance. Only balance can really take advantage of this as much as the Encarmine Axe can, so if you want like a full armor regen build, going up here is definitely a choice. Now, the alternative to this would be just going straight down the bottom row, but I really wouldn't do that either because, number one, you always want to take Power Wave. Power Backstep Wave damages more enemies. Now, patch 13 did fix up the Power Wave to hit the correct amount of enemies now. It wasn't that it wasn't hitting multiple enemies before, it just wasn't hitting as many as it should. That is now fixed, and thank God, because it'd be pretty awkward to like launch your brand new heroic power axe and not have the power backstep it's built around to work properly. And also, one more thing about the power backstep is that this is actually a vertical window as well, so you can hit Zoanthropes and Neurothropes and Line Zangors out of the air, which makes your riposte even better. Now, a final perk combination here I want to talk about is if you skip over Minoru Slayer, Restoration, or like Cleaver and Perpetual Strength, you can skip over Riposte, Minoru Slayer, and Restoration and go all the way down here for things like Rebound for double contested health recovery on light attacks, or even the perk here Discharge for overhead strike dealing additional area damage on the target with a 15-second cooldown. This perk is pretty good for horde control as well, though it may be a bit redundant on this weapon, and I'd predominantly use that on Assault class because Assault with Wind Fury, you can do a lot on the lunging attacks, but for the most part, this axe is in a pretty good spot. It might need like a little buff to the damage or something, but the big thing about this one is you're giving up big damage from the relic tier for faster speed and way fatter cleaving potential, and the ability to have more utility perks that actually function. And that's pretty much all there is to this weapon. You know, I'll have a lot more build guides surrounding this one. I have one up for the Assault already, but the Encarmine Axe, it's pretty cool. And you know, if you just want to use the weapon skin, you can do that now in patch 12 plus, because all the heroic items can just be swapped around these days. So if you just want to have like a Blood Angels RP, you can definitely do that. But hopefully this build guide helped you, or this video on the weapon helped you. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. If you like content like this, subscribe for more. Bye.